Hello and welcome to Black Leaders Inclusion Talks. My name is IK, and today we are talking with Rob Neal, who is the head of Embedding Culture Change at the Department of Education, OBE. Let's not leave that out, it's important. So tell us briefly why you decided to partner with Black leaders.
I was immediately drawn when I saw it first on Facebook, and then my dear friend Paul Cisse contacted me about some other things actually, but we got to talking. Right. And I said, look, I've been working in this space for a good while, a couple of decades, this space being networks and the synergy that is afforded when committed people come together. In the course of that conversation, when we layered it off, we realized there were more than a few people that we had in common. And so applying to join and be a part of what happens next was always going to be my next port of call. Thereafter, it becomes a question about managing our time, our bandwidth, our capacity to get involved, and where we are in our own journeys, our own careers. Because I think that will impact on certainly how much I'm able to contribute.
Right.
But certainly I would have thought how much others are able to contribute as well.
What are the problems that you, specifically have seen regarding the lack of Black inclusion in your workspace?
There are some real challenges in ensuring that talent, colourful talent, gets to where its ability deserves, where merit delivers a real diversity. I think I read it once in respect of the Olympics, that where the playing field is level and the rules are public, diversity excels.
Right.
And so when we leave it to the current systems and processes, we end up with a top team that doesn't reflect the diversity of those that it serves. And I think that's a real challenge for us. And I think you asked the question, what do I think the problems are? I think the problems are in the processes, the practices, and absolutely the people that turn those processes and practices.
Right.
We have to get under the skin of bias, in my view.
Right.
And there are some key ways in which I think we should go about doing that.
And with that being said, what are some of those key solutions that you can see?
Well, born out of my experience, not something that I immediately embraced, but I think we need to start considering, for some industries, IK, we need to start considering targets.
Okay.
And enforceable targets. And I liken it to the Rooney Rule in the States with NFL, the National Football League, where they introduced targets for CEOs running those organizations. And in less than 2 years, they delivered an 11% jump from something like 12% to 23% of representation of African Americans leading NFL football teams. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't come with its challenges, and it's not the only thing that we need to be doing. I think we also need to increase our cultural intelligence. And when I say we, I mean all of us. And cultural intelligence, if you look into it, can be broken down into your drive, your appetite, your persistent appetite to do what needs to be done here. What are we doing in that area? What's our assessment of that? Do we have the drive? Is there the appetite to really deliver reflective workforce? But there's also CQ, cultural intelligence, knowledge. What do we know? What are we prepared to fess up to not knowing? And therein identify as the gap that we have to address.
Right.
And then there are two other component parts, very important. There's CQ, strategy. What are we doing to deliver a more workforce that is about the strategic approach in delivering a more reflective workforce? And finally, there is CQ action. What are the actions as part of that strategy that we're taking? So 4 component parts: CQ drive, CQ knowledge, CQ strategy, and CQ action. CQ stands for cultural intelligence.
Brilliant. And what other, I mean, are there other, initiatives that that you're doing in your company regarding Black employees?
Well, one of the things we're doing, I mean, there are a number, and we probably don't necessarily have enough time to unravel all of them. But we've embarked on issuing what's called race advocates. Race advocates are individuals that are trained up with a level of cultural intelligence, but with a level of comfort and competence and confidence talking about race and race equality.
Right.
Now, don't get me twisted. These race advocates are not all from the Black, Asian, and minority ethnic community.
They can't be, can they? They
can't
be.
Yeah, they can't be.
No.
A number of them are.
Yeah.
But a number of them are from the white population.
Of course.
And then what you get with that wonderful mix is this active allyship, that real cultural mix and exchange of experiences, of views, of challenges, of hopes and aspirations, of disappointments. The wonderful mix that you can get and create and generate in workplaces that then says, together, how can we tackle this issue? We've got reverse mentoring. We've got targeted development schemes. And by that, I mean, where are our underrepresented groups? What programs of work can we get them signed up to really support them in offering their best and bringing their A game? But these aren't, I'm old enough to remember, IK, where the first generation of development programs were designed and offered with what's called a deficit model. So they were offered to fix Black people. They were offered to give an injection of confidence to Black people. How do we bring Black people up to where we need to be? That was first generation development programs. They were flawed, not least of which, because there is nothing wrong with the confidence of Black people. There is no gap in the ability, the potential of Black people. What's clear is that whether it be through exclusion or a lack of political savvy or fractured psychological contract with the organization, to put it bluntly, I can't be, I'm not even wanted here. So why am I bringing my best into this place?
Right.
Because guess what? In the blink of an eye, you're dropping me anyway.
Right.
So you don't deserve my best. You ain't going to get my best. I'm just going to clock in and clock out and do just enough.
Right. What advice would you give to other CEOs, leaders, in order to help them, tackle culture change within their organizations?
I think they need to listen.
Yeah.
And hear. Often they get conflated and even transposed as words. They're not the same thing.
Yeah, totally.
We can listen and not hear. That's
right.
We need to listen and hear. And for those leaders that are committed to this agenda, I would start there. We need to listen and hear. But we also need to acknowledge and accept that even if we want to say we have inherited a problem, there is a problem here. And time alone will not heal us. Osmosis alone will not heal us. I think it was James Baldwin that said, not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. And what we have at the minute, right now, IK, is we still have too many leaders that are trapped in a culture of denial. They are, it's almost as if they are prisoners of their own intellect.
Right.
And the key that unlocks that prison door is a commitment to hearing from others and drawing close, particularly right now off the back of George Floyd, bless his soul.
Right.
Particularly right now off the back of COVID-19 and disparities for Black, Asian and minority ethnic peoples.
Right.
Particularly right now with the lockdown.
Right.
It's about drawing close and really listening and hearing what's being said by the many Black voices that are speaking right now, Black leaders that are speaking right now. Because from that exercise is a real opportunity to create a new normal that is equitable. You know, equality is one thing and it's a good thing. But what we need to move on to is equity, taking account of where people have started from.
Right.
Not just handing out cookie cutter style, the same thing to everybody. That's equality. The same thing to everyone. That's equality. But the reality of the situation is that we need equity because not all of us have started from the same position.
Right.
And we need to recruit on potential. We need to conduct more strength-based interviews that identify and have an opportunity for candidates to shine their potential. You know, there's real evidence, IK, to suggest, sticking with recruitment, that the kind of strict merit list where you take the top scoring candidate doesn't always give you the best candidate. If you've got 20 people that have passed and to go in at number 1 on the 20, thinking that's the best candidate, sometimes the best can be at number 19. They've all passed.
Right.
They've all passed. So you're not lowering the standard. But the reality is the equitable outcome is to acknowledge that the person in at number 1 may have scored more points because of an affinity bias that the recruitment panel had.
Right.
The one in at 19 who may have scored 8, 9, 10 points lower on the grid, but still passed, may only have suffered a form of unconscious bias in that process that scored lower points.
Right.
And they might be your best candidate.
Right.
Now that kind of innovation is what I want to see more of in our recruitment processes.
Black Inclusion Week, which is, you know, from the 10th of May to the 16th of May, 2021. What are your thoughts about that?
Love it. Love it. I love it because it's a focus of attention. I love it because there is a run up to it that allows everyone to get their ducks in a row, bring their A game, have a wonderful explosion of colorful talent. And then we run with that from there.
Right.
I love that concept and idea. Again, I say this as a caveat. I would love 52 weeks of Black inclusion. You know, we've got enough talent to fill 52 weeks
and more.
but you know, there are only the 52 weeks in a year.
Yes.
Just as I'm a huge supporter of Black History Month. It's October here in the UK, and a lot of us are getting ready for Black History Month. We're but, you know, days away.
Yeah, yeah.
Should we have Black History all year round? You bet. Is Black history for everyone? You bet.
That's right. That's right.
But if we can utilize October as a catalyst to remind ourselves, as well as our friends around us from different ethnicities, of the lesser known facts about the contribution from the African diaspora, and we can bring through the richness of what we as a people have contributed to the entire world and the way in which we live, then I'm going to take that opportunity.
You know, I guess, is there anything else that, you know, as we're coming to the end of the interview, is there anything else that you want to add? Any passing words? Anything, if you don't have to, but if you've got anything else?
I'm, you know, it's at moments like these when I think about Black leaders and the wonderful work that Paul and Fiona and yourself, IK, have done in building this infrastructure and welcoming people like me and giving us a platform to say more about our experiences.
Yeah.
I'm reminded what my dad taught me, bless his soul. My dad passed away in 2017. But my dad would say to me, and I perhaps close with this, and I say this to everyone who's involved in Black Leaders, when here a task is set for you, don't idle, sit, or view it, nor be content to wish it done. Begin at once and do it.